Have you ever been scrolling through Instagram and suddenly saw that face, the very person you were just thinking about a few minutes earlier? Or maybe you were tossing and turning in the middle of the night and a dream about them slipped into your mind like their soul had just brushed past you. Ever opened your phone to message them only to see they'd already watched your story or even messaged you first? In this modern world where everything is connected by Wi-Fi and digital signals, we often forget there's another kind of frequency, the frequency of the soul. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that can't be explained by logic. But you feel it, your body senses it, and something deep inside you knows it's not random. Think back the last time your chest tightened out of nowhere, not because of stress or health, but because someone suddenly popped into your mind, bringing with them an unshakable feeling, as if you were living their emotions. And hours later, you found out they were going through something intense. Jung wasn't talking about superpowers. He was talking about resonance, the way two souls once deeply connected start vibrating on the same frequency, like two guitar strings across a room humming the same note. In a world that thrives on-demand everything, some connections still defy logic, data, and time. There are people who just by thinking of each other set their souls quietly communicating. The song plays at the exact right moment. The dream repeats itself. Their exact words are echoed by a total stranger. These aren't coincidences, they're whispers from the collective unconscious reminding you that a bond hasn't been broken. You could call it modern telepathy, but to Jung it was the language of the unconscious, older than any app, more subtle than any word. It's the breath of emotional memory of quiet moments that once left a lasting imprint on the soul. This video is for you if you've ever felt that. If you've ever wondered, are they thinking about me right now? When there are no texts, no calls yet, you can feel their presence as if your heart is a receiver tuned into their soul signal. Don't rush to call yourself too sensitive or delusional. Allow yourself to believe that some things are more real than reality, but only the soul can recognize them. So in the next few minutes, I invite you on a journey through 10 signs of a deep soul connection moments that seem random, but are actually messages from the unconscious, from them, and from you. Are you ready? There are moments when you're just living your normal life, working, eating lunch, scrolling through social media, and suddenly a wave of emotion hits you out of nowhere. There's no clear reason, but your chest tightens. A strange restlessness sets in, like someone just whispered your name in a dream. Your heart races. Your hands go cold. Maybe it's longing. Maybe it's a sadness with no name. And maybe it's him. Most people brush off that feeling as just a mood swing, but Carl Jung would tell you don't ignore it too quickly. It could be a wave of energy from another soul gently brushing against your unconscious. It's how energy unseen but deeply felt moves between souls that were once deeply connected. Jung described this as a form of synchronicity on an emotional level, when two people aren't speaking, yet still manage to touch each other through the currents of the unconscious. Like two lakes miles apart, stirred at the same time by a silent wind of memory. But this isn't just spiritual, it's also biological. When you think of someone intensely, your brain reacts as if they were physically present. Your sympathetic nervous system, the one that handles fight or flight, gets activated. Cortisol and adrenaline may rise slightly. Your heart rate changes. The physical sensations, the butterflies, the tightness, the emotion aren't just in your head. They're a physiological response to a hidden resonance. And if that person is also feeling you on some level, they might be experiencing the same kind of resonance. Your mind may not know it, but your body does. Your soul feels it. Think back to the last time he crossed your mind without warning. Maybe you were sitting in a cafe when suddenly your heart clenched. Nothing had happened, but a few minutes later, a message popped up from him. Or an old song started playing, the one you used to listen to together. Or worse, nothing at all. And yet you knew he was going through something, and somehow you were feeling it too. That's when emotional energy begins to flow. Not through texts, not through Wi-Fi, but through the oldest channel of all the collective unconscious. Carl Jung once said, our shadow often communicates before we even realize what we're feeling. And that's exactly what's happening when you sense an energetic shift with no clear cause. It's their shadow, the unconscious imprint they left within you, gently stirring the deepest part of your soul. People often ask, how do I know if this feeling is mine or if it's coming from them? The answer is, listen closely. If the emotion appears out of nowhere, not triggered by work, a memory, a song, then it may not be yours. It could be a signal from outside absorbed within. And here's the beautiful thing, your body is a living emotional antenna. When you love someone deeply enough, you become sensitive to their frequency, like two instruments tuned to the same pitch. This isn't supernatural. This is life in its rawest form, feeling and responding. So when you sense something stirring inside like a soft but persistent wave, don't dismiss it. Ask yourself, could this be the echo of another heart thinking of me right now? Because sometimes they can say it out loud, but their soul is still sending signals, quiet but powerful. And when this happens more than once, you start to realize there are connections that don't need physical presence or spoken words. They still live, still grow, still ache. That's when it's no longer just thinking about each other, it's feeling each other. At the most primal level, through breath, through heartbeat, through the quiet wind, you're thinking about them. A blurry image, an unfinished memory. You don't text, you don't call, but right in that moment, a song starts playing. Your song. Not from your playlist, but from a calf you just walked by, or from a stranger's headphones on the train, or randomly on YouTube out of millions of other tracks. That song isn't just a sound, it's a memory waking up, a message from the unconscious delivered to you through the outside world. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. Events that don't follow a logical chain of cause and effect, but come from a different dimension, the symbolic language of the soul. When two events happen at the same time with no direct link, yet hit you with emotional clarity, that's when you're tapping into the unconscious at work. Picture this, you're walking thinking about someone you haven't spoken to in months. Suddenly a song comes on. I still see your face in the white cars from Halsey's Without Me. It's not just the melody, it's that line piercing through you like an emotional arrow. It doesn't just make you miss them, it makes you believe they miss you too, even with no proof. That's synchronicity, when the world seems to know exactly how you feel and send something back. These signs don't show up to fool you, they show up to remind you some part of you or them isn't fully disconnected. Imagine an emotional wave so strong that it needs to manifest outside of you just so you can recognize it. That song is a mirror, their name flashing on a billboard, a friend randomly quoting a phrase that used to belong to just the two of you. These aren't meaningless echoes. They're resonances between soul and symbol, part of what Jung called an archetypal experience. One woman once shared, she was sitting in her car thinking about the man she had tried so hard to forget. She whispered to herself, if he's thinking about me, please give me a sign. At that very moment, the radio changed, not randomly, but to that song, Say Something, I'm Giving Up on You. The words filled the car like a voice she couldn't say out loud, and she broke into tears. Was it just coincidence? Jung would say, nothing is random if it stirs something deep in your soul. Synchronicity is how the collective unconscious speaks when your conscious mind can't. What makes these signs even more powerful is the symbolism behind them. Their name keeps repeating. You keep seeing 1111 whenever you think of them. Symbols of twin birds, butterflies, open doors, showing up in dreams, on your feet in real life, all part of the unconscious projecting your inner world onto the physical one. In Jungian psychology, every symbol holds emotional energy. A song isn't just a song, it's the sound of an unspoken feeling. A stranger's comment isn't just words, it's an echo of what's still unresolved inside you. So when these signs show up again and again wrapped in emotion, the question isn't, is this real? It's, why does my soul need to see this right now? That's when synchronicity stops being about them and starts being about you, about the awakening of your heart. The signs may come to heal, or to warn, or to guide you back to a part of yourself you've forgotten. You might think they're sending signals, and maybe they are. But even if they're not, your inner universe is speaking, and it deserves to be heard. There are nights when you drift in that half-awake state between the echoes of the day and vague images from beyond. And suddenly he's there, not on your phone, not on social media, but fully present in the glow of a dream. Your chest burns, your heart jolts awake. In dreams, the world moves by the laws of the unconscious symbols, colors, emotional images. You don't need to understand what's happening. You simply feel it. Picture this: a dream where two people wander through a moonlit garden, every step echoing like a heartbeat. No words, no light, just a magnetic pull between them. When you wake up, you might not remember the tunnel or the door, but the emotion stays like an invitation from the soul. By contrast, intuition in waking life is subtler. It's a sudden inner whisper: I think something might be happening with him. No images, just a quiet tremble in your body, a spiritual undercurrent that defies logic. That too is the unconscious speaking, not through vivid dreams, but through soft signals wrapped in question marks. Both dreams and intuition are expressions of the unconscious, but dreams are the full soundtrack of your inner world, rich in symbols, while intuition is like a single whispered lyric from that same song. Jung described the anima as the inner feminine archetype within men, and animus as the inner masculine within women. When a man thinks deeply about a certain woman, even without contact, the unconscious may project her anima into dreams, emotions, and intuition. Imagine a dream: a man sees a mysterious woman in a white dress under the moonlight. He wakes up with an unshakable longing. Days later, he learns that she had been thinking of him right at the moment he dreamt of her. This is anima projection, not just about the person being remembered, but about the part of the self that longs for union, healing, and deep resonance. The dream isn't just about her, it's his inner feminine seeking connection, and the dream is her way of reaching him. The anima isn't necessarily her, but the essence of desire, reconciliation, and resonance between two unconscious minds. When you connect with someone through synchronicity, you're also connecting with your own anima, or animus, and maybe even with theirs. Another example: a woman dreams she's speaking to a girl who seems to be close to him in age. She doesn't know who this girl is, but the sense of familiarity is so intense, it moves her to tears upon waking. Hours later, he sends her a long voice message. No words, just breaths, maybe even tears. She realizes the girl in her dream wasn't someone else. It was his inner feminine self reaching out to her through her dream. In those moments, your unconscious and theirs are interacting in an internal dimension, with no sound, no light, only spiritual imagery. In dreams, you don't need to decode every detail. What matters is the emotional current and recurring symbols. A key, a strange room, a broken bridge. These may all be messages from the soul. But when you start to notice that your dream symbols align with theirs, or share the same emotional tone, you're tapping into the frequency of synchronicity. For instance, both of you dream about a bird flying into a room, even if you never spoke of it. That's when you ask, what color was the bird? What did it sound like? Where did it land? Because in dreams, it's not just the image that matters, it's how it felt. Sometimes the ache in your chest doesn't come from a physical heart. It comes from a memory buried deep, a dull, persistent pain beneath your ribs, a silent reminder that someone once touched your soul and never truly left. You might be working, laughing, going about your day like everything's normal, and suddenly a wave hits. The air feels different. Your chest tightens. Your back chills. Your heart races for no reason. No one's around, but deep down you know someone's thinking of you, or a hidden thread between you and them just got activated. Jung didn't believe this was just imagination. He believed in a deep mind-body connection where emotions don't just live in the head, they imprint on the skin. He once wrote, "The psyche is not within us. We are within the psyche." Modern psychology agrees strong emotions can cause immediate biological shifts. When someone you once loved thinks of you, their body even miles away might release adrenaline, cortisol, or dopamine. And if you've ever shared deep physical closeness, a hug, a touch, your body may still register those changes through unconscious awareness. This is called neuro-emotional resonance, a kind of biological memory left behind by deep connections. You don't have to see them again. Just remembering them deeply is enough for your body to respond. One woman shared that every time her ex-husband was about to call, her chest would tighten and her hands would tremble slightly. Even though they were no longer close, each major decision he made seemed to echo in her body as if she were still a receiver for his energy. If you don't understand this phenomenon, you might misread yourself. You may think you're unstable, too sensitive, or emotionally weak, but in truth, you're experiencing a deeper layer of awareness where your body is your intuition. When emotional resonance repeats, it can make it hard to start new relationships because old energy hasn't been released. Trigger strong reactions to someone simply because they remind you of someone else. Or conversely, awaken inner abilities you never knew you had: sharper intuition, deeper empathy, boundless compassion. It's a kind of soul aftershock where you evolve from the remnants of an unfinished connection. When you learn to observe the tremors in your body as signals, you begin a journey of individuation, what Jung described as the process of becoming your truest self, where you're no longer led by someone else's shadow, but use their impact to dive into your own darkness and rise as someone new. At that point, resonance stops being a burden. It becomes a door, no longer painful longing, but a soul's invitation to come home to yourself. If you've ever trembled because you felt someone was thinking of you, if you've ever cried for no reason only to learn they were hurting at that exact moment, if your body has ever reacted like it carries someone else's memory, don't dismiss it. It may just be proof that you once loved, once connected, and once left a sacred mark in someone else's soul. We've just explored 4 signs, from heart awakenings to echoes from the outer world to dreams and physical resonance. These aren't just mystical events. They're mirrors of the subconscious letters from the collective unconscious, and most of all, invitations to return to yourself. You may be riding waves of intense emotion from connection or disconnection, but what's really happening isn't that you're too emotional or out of control. It's that you're facing your own shadow, that hidden part of yourself you've never truly confronted. Jung called this the shadow, the aspects of you that were buried under fear, shame, or emotional dependency. When you feel strong resonance, instead of seeing it as weakness, view it as an entry point, a chance to meet your shadow. That shadow might hold a loneliness you've never named, a longing for intimacy, a forgotten compassion, or a heartbreak you've never accepted. Healing isn't just about letting go. It's about stepping into a dance with your darkness, asking yourself, how much of my energy is still living in the past? What part of my heart is calling out for healing, to tell a story it never got to share? What can I learn from this resonance about how I love, how I open up, and how I still close off? Healing isn't for them. It's for you, for the version of you that never had the courage to truly look yourself in the eye. When you dare to face your feelings, to meet your shadow, you don't disappear into it. You awaken into someone capable of loving fully, not for someone else, but because you love yourself enough not to lose who you are in any kind of light. If you've experienced any of the signs in this video, I invite you to share in the comments. What did you feel the first time you recognized a sign? Was it fear, joy, a glimpse of a forgotten part of yourself? Your story is a piece of the eternal mosaic of the soul, and it might help others better see their own path to healing. If this video touched something in your heart, consider subscribing. Each subscription is a commitment that will keep diving deeper into the inner world, into the magic of archetypes, shadows, anima, animus, synchronicity. Every video, every script is created with the hope of helping you awaken your unconscious, unlock your healing power, and walk toward the light of wholeness.